everyone, what is up? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, I'm Maddie. I'm a K-5 STEM teacher and ed tech coach from Los Angeles. I post weekly tech tutorials for teachers, and in today's video, I'm going to be sharing how to create classroom agreements in Google Jamboard. Now, if you are brand new to Google Jamboard, I have a complete tutorial already on my YouTube channel that I'll have linked in the video description down below for you guys to check out. In today's video, we're really going to be focusing specifically on how to create classroom agreements in Jamboard. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Now, right now, we are looking inside of a Google Jamboard file that I've created. If you've used Google Jamboard before, you're probably noticing that it's not blank. I've actually done a little bit of prep work here. So this template that we're going to be looking at in the remainder of this video, I have linked for you guys in the video description down below that you can make a copy of and download for free. So if you like this template, be sure to click the link in the video description down below. So again, you can grab your own copy for free. So the prep work that I've done to this Google Jamboard file here is in the top left-hand corner. You'll notice that I've written classroom agreements. What ideas do you have for classroom agreements and expectations? You'll also notice that I have 22 different sticky notes on this first frame here. So the way that I created these sticky notes is I used the sticky note tool on the left-hand side. So you'll see that there is a button that says sticky note. It looks just like one. I clicked that to create each of these sticky notes. Now, as a teacher, the way I like to introduce classroom agreements or classroom rules to students is I like to pose the question to students individually before we have a group conversation. So it's really important to me as a teacher to have a conversation with students where they're really thinking about their own individual agreements and expectations for the school year. Now, if you teach younger students, I really like the language from Responsive Classroom that asks students to share their hopes and dreams for the school year. So that's another way that I might ask this question to students. Now, you'll notice that I have 22 sticky notes. I've already said that, but the reason that I have these 22 sticky notes is because each sticky note is representing a different student in my class. So a system that I like to incorporate in my classroom as a teacher is I like to assign numbers to students. So because I have 22 students in my class, there's a sticky note for every single student. So let's say that my assignment number, my student number is number 7. That means that I will be tasked with adding my response to sticky note number 7. So because the classroom prompt is, what ideas do you have for classroom agreements and expectations? As student number 7, I would want to double click on the sticky note that says 7. I delete the 7 and I would then add my individual response. So I might say something like, I want to make new friends this school year and have fun. Then when I'm done, I can go ahead and press the save button. So you'll see that my sticky note has been edited. I like to describe this system to students by explaining that each of these sticky notes is essentially like a parking spot for students. They're really only supposed to edit the sticky note that has their number on it. So that's a helpful classroom management tip when using Google Jamboard with tons of students all at the same time. So now that I have edited this sticky note, let's say all of the students in my class have gone and edited their sticky notes and added their individual ideas, it's time for us to then move on to the group activity portion of this Google Jamboard activity. I would want students to close their devices. They're no longer going to be using their own individual devices for the remainder of this activity. So we go up here to the very top of Google Jamboard and you'll see that there is a little icon in the middle here that says 1 out of 3. That means that we are currently on the first frame out of 3 different frames. To move to the next frame, we're going to click on this arrow that says next frame. So like I said, now this is time for us to do the group activity portion of Jamboard. So all students in the classroom, their devices are closed, and we are now sitting in a circle talking about our collective classroom agreements. So I might pose questions to students to ask them to share what they put on the very first frame, to share their own individual hopes and dreams for the school year, to share their ideas for classroom agreements and classroom expectations. So as we engage in this group discussion, I, as the teacher, would be summarizing their thoughts and ideas by putting them onto this slide here, or onto this frame here. To do that, I would want to use the sticky note button on the left-hand side. So I'll go over here to the left-hand side and I'll click on sticky note, and I can type in their ideas. So I could say something like, use a friendly voice when speaking to others. Save. Be kind and respectful, etc. So hopefully this just gives you an idea of a couple of examples. So once we have put together all of our collective classroom agreements, we brainstormed them on here, we can then start to kind of arrange things. So I'll click on this one here. I'm using the select tool, and I'll just drag it, and I can resize it by clicking the blue circle in the corner, make it a little bit bigger. All right, once you have put together all of your classroom agreements and students in your class feel like their voices have been heard and they feel really happy with these rules, you can then move on to the final stage of the activity. For this stage, I like to have students actually sign the classroom agreements. Now, there's a couple of reasons why I like to do this. The main one is that I want students to really feel like they have ownership over these agreements, that there's something that they've collectively signed off on and bought into as a class. So what I would have students do is I would have them take turns individually and come up to my computer screen and actually sign their classroom agreements together. So let's say that I am the very first student. I would go over here to the pen tool, and in the corner, I would sign my name. So this, I think, is a really nice way for each student to be able to see their own handwriting on the frame and really feel like, again, they have their own ownership over these classroom agreements. Now, another way that you could do this, instead of having students sign their names, you could have them add pictures of themselves. So you could use the image icon here on the left-hand side, this image tool. You could click on it and actually have students upload a picture of themselves to this frame. Or if you think it's more age appropriate, you as the teacher could upload a picture of students. And that's another way you could have them create these classroom agreements digitally using Google Jamboard. We're going to go ahead and press the X here. So hopefully this kind of gives you some ideas for how you can finish up this final stage. Like I said, if you liked this activity, if you liked these classroom agreements, the system that I put together, be sure to click the link in the video description down below to grab this Jamboard template for you to try out with your students. Thank you so much for watching today's video all about how to create classroom agreements in Google Jamboard. If you liked this video, be sure to give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you're not already. I post weekly tech tutorials for teachers, and I'll see you back here soon. Bye, friends.